What's up, everybody? Hey, here we are back on the 40-acre project with Mr. Chris Brewer. We started this, Chris, back in February of 22. Happy New Year. It's 2023. So we wanted to come out here and kind of talk about all the stuff we did this year to improve this property. So, but first, did you have any success this year?
Actually,
So, tell me about this buck, Chris. So, you have some history with him, right?
this deer, I actually had no idea how big this deer was. I had some idea. I'm not going to say I had no idea. But this was my target buck last year. And he would only come to the south side of my property. He would never come up to the food plot, never come up to the north side at all. Nighttime picks only. And I hunted this buck all season long. I guess he would show up 2 times a week. And so he showed up this time. He showed up this year about not too far from where we're sitting right now. One picture I got of him, and of course sent it to Cody, and he asked me, you know, of all the bucks you got, what's your target buck? And I was like, I named this deer Spike because I thought he only had one spike coming off the side of his head right here. I didn't see all other stuff on the back of him, so I told him, I was like, Spike's my target buck just because I got history with him. Not the biggest buck, but he's my target buck. Well, once we laid hands on him, we learned pretty quickly that he was the biggest buck, I think, on the property. So pretty cool to see, you know, a buck you have history with and it come to fruition.
So did this deer, he made him work for it. This wasn't,
Oh, yeah.
This wasn't no, we went and got in the stand and it went down.
No.
He put in a lot of work
Yeah.
and a lot of passing other bucks.
Passed a lot of deer. I can tell a brief story on that. Thanksgiving morning, my son went hunting with me and had a lot of does come out morning hunt before everybody got here. And a really nice 8-point I had passed 3 or 4 times during muzzleloader, during bow season with my bow in my hand. And he says, Dad. And a buck had popped out. And I was like, yeah, that's a pretty good one. And so he starts asking me, he's like, how do you know? Like, how do you know when it's a good buck? I was like, well, whenever you can't hardly look at it and your heart's beating really big, you know that's the buck you're going to kill that day. So I asked him if he wanted to harvest a buck. He's like, no, not if you don't. But anyway, so yeah, passing a lot of deer to get to this point, you know, that's kind of what you got to do.
That's, yeah, you just gotta stick it out. And what comes with that, like we were talking about, is you may eat a tag. I mean, that's just, I haven't personally killed a deer this year at all. Been a tough year for me, and you know, that's just the nature of it. If you're going after the old man, which is exactly what this guy was, you had him aged, right?
Yep, had him aged with his molars, 6.5 years old is what he.
So that's, I mean, that just shows you. Here we are in Arkansas. There ain't no big deer in Arkansas.
Yeah.
You know, if you let them get old, this is what can happen.
Yeah.
And you know, come to find out, there's kind of a cool story with this deer. Other people had seen him in this huge radius he was making.
Yeah.
It was pretty impressive.
The lines I drew on Onyx was almost 3 miles away. That people, matter of fact, 3 miles away 2 days before I harvested him. He was 3 miles away.
Right,
Yeah.
really? Wow. Okay,
Yeah.
so
that tells you how far these deer will go, you know, to get to where they want to be, and that's just part of it. Is being where they want to be, I guess, is a good point to bring up with the property and how it all lays out.
with the property, okay. So let me just ask you. So we, like I said, we started in February, right? And you had this idea, and I jumped on board because I love anything outdoors that's got to do with whitetails.
Yeah.
And put a lot of work in. Really big food plot went in.
Yeah.
That all the steps of that, if you guys want to watch it, we've actually got all the videos. You know, you guys can check that out. And then we decided, okay, we're gonna do some screening. We're gonna do some switchgrass.
Yeah. It definitely evolved. So a little bit of back history. 15 years ago, 14 years ago probably, I decided I want to put a food plot on my place. Well, I just found a cool spot and like,
Right.
this looked like a cool spot and put a food plot. So by about year 3 or year 4, I realized it was in the totally wrong spot. So I would come home last year and go out to my wife like, got busted, trying to get in, trying to get out. So at that point, I'm doing something totally different. So it evolved into this big aerial picture of my property and drawing it all out, sending pictures to you. What do you think
Right.
about this? And we're still not done. You know, there's still
Oh, yeah.
stuff that
Oh,
I want to do. We're already making plans for next year, but you know, we learned a lot access wise, and you know,
Yes.
it's so cool to be able to get to a spot. The problems I was having last year, I had none of that this year, which led to something like this. Not saying you're going to go out and kill a deer this caliber
Right.
every year, but you're going to be able to see some good deer. So
Well, you know, so year 1 on the place, and you start at the top, brother.
Yeah.
You're supposed to work your way up.
Yeah.
This is a
go big or go home.
We
Right?
just gross scored it at like 178 and a quarter is
Yeah.
where this deer's at, and you know that's pretty mind blowing, right here.
Yeah, to be
Yeah.
there's no ag anywhere around
No,
here.
big timber.
It's just big woods everywhere
Yep.
you go. So
Yeah, it's a pretty cool when a plan comes together.
yeah, definitely.
For sure. So you got to tell me. So when we were building this, we set you up a destination food plot of 2 acres,
Yep.
and then we put a big deer stand on it.
Yeah.
You call the deer mansion, right?
The deer mansion, yeah.
And you just happened to be in the deer mansion when you shot this guy, right?
It was wind chill was -2 that day, so yeah, that was the only place I was going to be hunting. So I mean, yeah, it paid off in dividends.
So
for
you're
sure.
telling me a brand new food plot, year 1,
Yep.
in a brand new deer stand, year 1, and this is what you killed out of it.
Yep.
I'd say you had pretty good success.
Yeah,
man.
it wasn't a bad plan after all. Come to find out. Now the property hunted different than I thought it would.
Yeah.
I mean,
Sure, you're
Yeah.
learning it.
Yeah.
And, you know.
I had a plan in my head of how it was all going to go together, how the deer were going to use it, and of course they're wild animals, so it's like it was definitely just as in life, right? You got to adapt. Like, all right, this
Right.
isn't working. This is what's working, and you change up your whole plan, and
Right.
then at that point it's grit and patience to because
Right.
it was a rough season for the both of us.
Oh, it
I
definitely
mean,
was. And you know, that's what's cool about it. This deer was December 23rd.
December 23rd.
I mean, everybody wants to hunt the rut. You know, it's rut, and that's when you're only going to kill a buck like this in the rut.
Yeah.
Well, this deer actually came in pushing does, right?
Yep.
So that's what kind of made that happen. You think?
Oh, for sure. Yeah, you said it best. He bowling pinned 9 does that were on the plot and just chased them around, and then immediately just turned and went back into the woods. And so I shoot him a text.
I remember the text. Yeah, frantic.
Dude, I just had a giant come in and just walked out of my life. So I guess I'll just go ahead and tell the story at this point. He walks back into the woods. The does are all out of the food plot, and I'm thinking, man, you know,
Right.
I didn't know how good of a buck, but I knew it was a good buck. So I instinctively just grabbed the grunt crawl, you know, and nervously just let out some grunts while I was still shaking. And 90 seconds goes by and he pops his head back out. And he's just, you know, staring right through me. And slowly starts making his way over there. And the doe works around behind me. And I didn't see her till the last second, but she's a little bit to my left-hand side. And he is so close that I can't look at him anymore. So at some point during all this that went down, I actually had to like lay my head down and take my eyes off of him for a minute because I had to like calm myself down. When I look back up at him, he's staring over here, so I look and there's a doe. She spooks at him, I guess. He blows, puts both feet in the ground, turns, spins away, and runs dead away from me. And in the last second, he stops, turns broadside, and looks back, and that's when I harvest
That's when you
him.
slipped one in there.
Yeah.
Huh?
It was like, you know, no reason. We talked about that a minute ago. There's no reason why that deer would blow, run 12, 15 yards, and turn around and turn broadside.
Right. Right.
There's no reason why, you know, that he should do that. But, I mean, you know, then I wait about 15, 20 minutes, walk out with my cell phone light. I'm seeing a little bit of blood, not a whole lot. And then, mind you, I'm in a the deer mansion, so I'm not dressed real warm. So I'm walking around out there. I'm not feeling any pain at all because my adrenaline's flowing. I call you on the phone, tell you the situation, and you know, my hands going numb because I'm just walking, crunching. So there's about, you know, what, inch and a half of snow on the ground when this all went down, and it was cold.
Yes, it was very cold.
So we kind of devised a plan. I made a mistake on a buck last year, went in too early and jumped him up. Still ended up, you know, harvesting him and found him later that morning. But so this one I was going to give it plenty of time. So we gave it plenty of time. I went in, and he has a whole different light setup than what I had, and we found a pretty good blood trail.
Yeah.
Walked right to it, and then, you know, then it all started setting in of what I had actually
Accomplished.
harvested once we start rolling around, and I'm anxious to see the footage of that.
Oh yeah. Well, see, the cameraman, which was me, pretty much ruined the footage because I'm screaming like a 10-year-old girl. Oh my gosh, Chris! Start counting the points. Look at the points. Because you know, I start seeing all these kickers and stickers, and the mass is insane, and these G2s, and I'm freaking out. You know, and so the footage is good, but the audio's not so good because I was excited about it, but
it's natural.
Yeah. So.
And then,
super cool, man. I mean, honestly, the whole deal.
Oh,
the way it went down,
yeah.
it's like divine providence, man.
Oh, for sure.
It was meant to happen.
That's why you go back to that. There was no reason why that buck should have stopped and turned around broadside and gave me 2 seconds to slip one in there. So that's definitely the way it goes. And then we go back and, you know, we take it in my garage and we're putting the tape on it and we're scoring it. And next thing you know, it's after 11 o'clock and we're still just like, look at it from this angle. Look at it from this angle.
Well, if you stand behind it, hold his head up, turn it.
It's like, and this is what we do. And it's like, you know, we're ate up with it. And, you know, something like this comes along not very often.
No.
Our goals aren't 180. Our goals are 140 and above, and that's kind of what we like to kill. So to have something like this happen, it's just a crazy time to.
It's just fortunate, right?
Yeah,
I mean,
for sure.
Yeah, we would love to say, hey, we put this food plot in here and set up this plan, and this is what you get.
Yeah.
No, not so much.
Yeah.
You know,
not always.
It wasn't that easy.
No, we struggled for.
But there's no doubt it impacted it.
Oh, for sure.
And it really, I feel like that it really helped it go down. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You still had to make the shot.
Yeah.
You know, God had to stop him and make him turn back.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying?
Kind of what we talked about. It's like you love to take credit for this stuff, but ultimately, you know, God's the one's in control of all this. Now, I think we're rewarded for hard work.
Absolutely. Which there was a lot of that.
Yeah. Well,
this was a big
we started
project.
this project in February, and we got done. Still didn't plant, but we got done tilling, leveling, packing, and everything else in October probably. So I missed early season hunting altogether.
We didn't have it ready.
So which next year is going to be a whole other thing because we were working on it. And if we weren't working on it, we were talking about working on it or coming up with ideas for it. And so the impact I feel like it had, one, the changes we made is access. I could get in, I could get out, hunt the edges. I'm not getting busted. Never got busted once. The other thing was I had 2 doe families that were very, very consistent. 9:30, 10 o'clock in the morning, they were going to be there. 3:30, 4:30, they would be there, and they would hang out there until dark or after dark.
All season.
Yeah. He would not have been there had the does not just been consistent. I lost them for a little bit during the lockdown period. Not all of them, but I lost them periodically. You could kind of tell what was going on. You would see, you know, this one, and you'd see this one. A group of 6 would now be a group of 2, 3. But
and see, he had this place canvassed with cell cameras.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
And what was crazy is he would get pictures of some bucks that we couldn't figure out how he got in there.
Yeah.
I mean, how did he not walk by this camera or walk by that camera?
Exactly.
It's like he just appeared.
Yeah.
And he's actually, one of his spots that he's got, one of his camera spots was just a big buck hot spot. It was just tons of pictures of big bucks.
Yeah.
And you look at it and you think, why?
Yeah.
So, you know, me and him, the first thing we're going to try to do is figure out what made them bucks come to that spot, you know, versus this one or this one.
And the thing about it was, once I realized that, I've got a pretty killer setup. I got a lone wolf hung up and notched into a cedar tree over that spot that would be a 20-yard shot. But
Access.
But now you can't hunt it because if you're hunting it on that wind, it's blowing back to where the deer are coming from.
Right.
So killer spot that you can't get into. And these are things that we talk about all the times. Like, you willing to risk it all
Yeah.
to go in there
On one hunt?
and
Yeah.
blow it out or not? And I chose not to. I never set foot on that place.
Right.
And, you know, and
This guy come out. I
Yeah.
mean, what can you say? I mean,
Yeah.
he came out, and it, you know, super cool deer. I mean, congratulations, dude. This is a
I
buck of
appreciate
lifetime. This sucker ended up with 14 points and
Yeah.
kickers and stickers and
Yeah.
mass. He's got it all. And I did you ever think when we started this was what you would have year one?
no, not at all. Not at all.
You know, so I you know,
Not at all.
glory goes to God, no doubt about that.
For sure.
But I love it when a plan comes together, even when it comes together better than what we planned.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
we had no idea you were going to do something like this year one. But
I still
you know,
love looking at that thing.
Oh, I know. It's like every time you look at it, there's something cool to see. But just super cool. Hey guys, as always, thank y'all for watching, and as always, God bless. That was so cool, man. What a toad frog that is. Cool, Chris. Cool. Oh my gosh, dude, congratulations. That's awesome.